Hello everyone, welcome back. So it's Sunday night again, and as you can see there's been a little bit happening in the workshop, but I just want to start this week's video just by saying thank you very much for your support over the last week or so. Obviously in last week's video we covered off a bit of feedback we've been receiving, and so many of you have reached out in support, which I genuinely appreciate, and if I'm honest, I've drawn quite a bit of enthusiasm from. Obviously, you know, you second guess yourself when you get messages like that, and a lot of you have reached out, and as you know, it only takes one to upset the apple cart. So I really appreciate it, and it's awesome to know that, you know, you guys are on board and you're enjoying what we're doing. So I'll stick at it, and I really appreciate all your support. Now, this week's update. As you can see, we've got a bit of a mess happening. This originally started as we were just going to clean the boot up in BA1. Turned into be a lot bigger job than that, but there's a reason for that, which we'll cover off now. But as you can see, we've taken a lot of the running gear or the fuel system and that out of the back of the car, which has opened up a few other issues, which we'll run through. But overall, it's been quite an interesting weekend, and we'll update you now. So this is the very latest from the workshop. So the plan for today is to clean up the boot on BA1. Now we've got brand new fuel pumps and fuel filters and everything that are now here to go in the car, but we want to A, make sure everything's a bit more presentable, and B, make sure there's nothing loose or perished in here. Now I started to clean up right at the back, and I've literally just given it a 2-second wipe with a rag, but you can see at the base of those two bars there, the Watts linkage cable, which comes in and goes through the rear firewall. Now I tried to turn that cable, I've never actually touched it, and it's locked up completely. Now just to show you, on BA1, the Watts linkage is easily adjustable. So you've got your don't mind me, your air spike, which you put in here during a pit stop to lift the car up. And then above it is the adjuster point for your Watts linkage to adjust your roll center. So you just put a socket and a speed brace in there, turn it, and it does it nice and quickly. It's a little bit more involved on the super cheap car and FTR3. Now there's a cable that comes out of the back of that, and it goes all the way through the car. If I bring the camera up here, and it goes through the rear firewall down to the Watts linkage in the back of the car. Now it's stuck, so it's going to need to be taken out and cleaned up and repaired. Now the position of the Watts linkage is jammed between the fuel cell and the diff housing. So that's going to be very difficult to get to. So with that in mind, I'm thinking the best way forward from here, and make sure everything else is okay, is we're going to drop the fuel cell out of the car. There's lots of little, you know, bolts that are rattled loose and stripped threads and all sorts of stuff. So we'll pull the fuel cell out. That'll give us a gaping big hole in the floor to work up from underneath the car. Have a look at everything in the boot, including the master cylinder reservoirs. Make sure nothing's perished in here, and then we'll push on from there. And with the fuel cell out of the car, we can also have a good look at the Watts linkage, which Stone Brothers recessed into the diff housing, which it'd be pretty cool to have a look at that anyway. So we'll rip into it now and see what is involved in getting this fuel cell out. Okay, so we've got the carbon trim off the top that you would have seen in previous videos. So really now we're just going to get the last of the fuel out of the fuel cell. We'll just hook up our little harness and run the lift pumps, and then we'll lift the fuel cell out of there and see what we're dealing with. But as you can see, it's got bits of bitumen and gravel traps and all sorts of stuff in there, so it'll be interesting to see what's in the bottom. I don't think it's going to be overly pretty. Okay. Fuel cells out, finally. Wasn't quite that easy, but we got there. So completely bone dry. Definitely hasn't got any E85 in the bottom of it, which is really good, but it is well out of date. And you can see by the dirt and grime and everything that's on it, it's been in there for a long time. So we've now got a little bit of a battle to get the what it sits in, the little box, out of the back of the car. Now you can see it is notched in around those rear bars there, and I can get it to lift up, but for the life of me I cannot get it to come out. Now there's plenty of space between here and here for it to lift up and come out. But I think part of the issue is the rails have had plenty of belts over the years and the box has had heaps of repairs, so the little bit of tolerance that we normally have isn't there. Now I've had a bit more of a look and you can see what it sits in. There's 2 holes in the rear rail and I believe there's Allen heads in there. So I'm thinking we can remove this bar that goes along here between the rear rails. So if we take this rear crash panel out, take that rear bar off, hopefully we can slide this box back and it'll come out. So with that rear crash panel removed, it's it's pretty obvious that you remove that and then the fuel cell slides back and then you can take it out of the car. Now you can see, which I alluded to just a couple of seconds ago, that there's 2 holes on either side and that bar bolts in. Now if you have a look down the end of that bottom hole, there's something shiny down there. They're Allen heads. That shiny piece is the end of my Allen key, which is really helpful. So I can't budge them. They're completely seized in there. So I'm gonna have to take the rear bar off the car and try and drill them out or get in there some other way. So we'll drop the car back on the ground, get this rear bar off, and hopefully it doesn't snowball any further. Okay, so you can tell by the mess, the fuel cell's out. I didn't film the entire process because it was just a grown man swearing for 2 hours, but we've managed to get that rear brace out. The fuel cell slid backwards and out it came. Now, this is the box that it was all sitting in. Excuse the mess. You can see on the inside, there's actually quite a bit of damage to it down in here where it's had a lot of hits. Probably doesn't show up on camera, but it's not so evident on the outside because it's got the carbon fibre trim, but certainly on the inside, it's done some Ks. A lot of foam that's packed in at the bottom. I'm presuming, and I'm happy to be corrected on this, the fuel cells back in the day, they were different capacities. So I'm assuming that they were different bladder sizes. So obviously the drop tank would have to be different size to compensate for that. That's the rear crash structure. Now that there, a lot of you have been asking about that. That's the main vent for the cab. And what Stone's did, which was quite clever, obviously with the knacker ducts on the side windows, you have airflow coming into the car and that all goes through your, your fan and everything, which is still in the car today. But to get the airflow moving, they've utilised the standard Falcon speaker hole, the rear speakers, and they've put a little trim in there, and that duct goes through the boot, which if we come down here and have a look, it hooks in there, and then it vents down through the boot floor and out the bottom of the car. So I'm sure there'll be a performance, like a pressurisation thing that is a factor there as well, but that's well above my pay grade on how that all works. So now we've got a lot of the hardware out of the boot, everything starts to make a bit more sense. Now this bar that we had a bit of trouble getting out, you can understand why Stone Brothers made it that way. So it sits with the fuel tank removed. If we sit that in there like so, it just sits in there, and these strip threads are going to be a bit of an issue because they're actually captive nuts and a lot of them have fallen inside the bar. The rivets have broken over time and the ends are welded up. So we're going to have to do something there. Hopefully a riv nut or something will solve that. But one thing that's evident, the reason that bar is removable is that fuel cell definitely has to slide back to get it out. In all the other cars, the fuel cell's a lot further back. You can lift it up, tilt it, and get it out of the way. That's pretty well directly under the rear parcel shelf on BA1, so you've got to be able to have that rear section removable. Now, one thing that's really evident with the fuel cell so far forward, the whole back of the car has been custom made to accommodate that. Now we'll cover it off in future videos, but you can see the watts linkage is a half watts link compared to the other cars. It's been built into the diff housing. So it's a really impressive way of doing it, and everything's been crammed in to be as far forward as possible. Even these rear bars between the shock towers, you've got the main crossbar, which goes between the 2 points, and these bars below it are directly square to that bar. So they just go straight down and so everything's as far forward as it can be. If we come over to FTR3 and have a look how GSR did it, you can see those bars are still in the same position, but they're built in on an angle. It's going to be probably a little bit hard to show you on camera, but they go toward the back of the car the lower those bars get. It's a pretty impressive bit of engineering when you look at it, considering this chassis was built in the year 2000 and BA1 was built in 2003. There's been a totally different thought process go into it. It's got less bar work at the rear, but it also has these bars to stiffen it this way as well. So we'll cover all that in future videos, but it's really impressive how they'll manage to cram all that mechanical hardware into such a small area. Now, unfortunately, I've got to go back to work. Just as I'm getting all enthused in this, I've got to pack up and get ready for work tomorrow. But you can see here, the next step's going to be cleaning everything up because it's filthy dirty, and we'll document all that as we go. There's a few other little issues, like the Stone Brothers have their brake reservoirs in the boot, and you can see they've been leaking over time, and it's stripped all the paint off where brake fluid's been sitting between the fuel cell and the chassis. So there's a lot of tidying up to do. There's years of just dirt and grime which all needs to come out. So obviously with the fuel cell and everything out, we can work in underneath the car and come up through the boot floor, which is going to make a massive difference. So we'll push on with all this tonight. We'll share it with you as we go. As I said, we'll have a bit more look at the mechanicals and everything as they all come out of the car and be serviced, and it'll be a really interesting piece, I'm sure. So thanks again, everyone. We'll push on here. We'll speak with you soon. Thanks again.